Hey guys, here's a big news coming today. Let's talk about the 6th-gen Fighterjet in China. The fourth test flight of our 6th-gen Fighterjet in Chengdu has been reviewed, and here's the video was taken by people inside the Chengdu city. As you can see, this test flight was conducted near the residential area, unlike before when they tested uninhabited zones. So you know what it means. It intentionally wanted people to film it. They flew slower and lower so cameras could capture all the clear photos. Oh, and this time, there was no J-20 escort. The J-36 flew the mission by himself. Now, let's take a closer look on our new J-36. Actually, this fighter's official name haven't been finalized yet. J-36 is just based on the numbering spray printing on the plane. And of course, it has another nickname given by the netizens. But anyway, for convenience, I will call it J-36 in this video. And of course, there are not any official specs on this jet yet. Everything we know is just speculation from videos and pictures. First, let's check out its size. It's huge. From the first two test flights when it flew alongside the J-20, we can estimate the new 6th-gen fighter, the J-36, is about 21 meters long, with a wingspan of about 22 meters. Of course, being big has its perks, like a longer range and higher payload, but it also means it's not ideal for the hypersonic speeds. In comparison, the J-20 is about the same length, but have a swinger span of only 13 meters. Another thing is, when you look at the design, you will find it has no tail, and there's not any vertical control surface at all. That's a very important signal. I will discuss it later. Secondly, it's super thin, and you can see 5 movable surfaces on each side, plus 3 more at the bottom. What really stands out is there's no visible gap between any of these surfaces. That means the entire aircraft, including the hinge, is coated with a flexible material. As far as I know, this is the first time this has been used on a fighter. It was only used on a lightweight aircraft before. This is mainly designed to handle the radar reflection from the rear, which helps meet China's 6th-gen stealth standard, full aspect invisible, because the fighter's tail has always been a major issue for stealthless planes. This kind of tailless design is a great option for stealthless, but on the other side, the flight control becomes way more complex, especially when you need a high manual variability. Without control surfaces, you have to manage the shift, the aerodynamic balance to control this aircraft. Another thing is, on the nose, you can see 2 reflection spots that are probably optical windows. Unlike the J-20 or J-35, the J-36 doesn't have the same sensor setup, which means it's using an entirely new system. To be honest, I can't even imagine how complex the internal operating system must be. But AI definitely plays a big role in this generation of control. The AI aspect is definitely worth explaining. Unlike the 2-seat J-20, where 2 people operating independently, like 1 pilot and 1 weapon officer, the J-30's AI combines all the data for the pilots, who only need to make strategy and tactical decisions. Basically, just deciding where to engage and where to go, just like riding a self-drive taxi. And this leads to another topic, the pilots. Under our new standard, there is even a requirement for AI to automatically activate payload before reaching a target. Payload, simply put, means electronic parts, recon system, and radar. All this stuff starting up automatically. The AI will scanning everything and then feed the info back to the pilot. The pilot no longer had to deal with the tedious task. So, in theory, any pilots could operate this 6th-gen fighter for any mission with very little training, because everything is automatic. Next up, let's check out the massive air intake on the top. That's probably feeding the central engine. But there is an issue actually. Let's do an example for better understanding. Let's say this is our J-36, and here is the wind, is the direction of the wind. So when it's driving flat, the air intake system working perfectly, but along with the angle of jet increasing, the intaking efficiency drops quickly. Especially in a combat situation when you suddenly need a full thrust, this kind of intake system isn't that effective. But at the same time, this design sends a strong message. I will say it's confidence, even bold. This design is saying, I can fly in your airspace and you won't even detect me. Or, even if you do detect me, I don't need to dodge. Because in our 6th-gen jet new standards, there is also a hard kill self-defense system, where under the stealth coating, there might be small, reactable rocket launchers. If a missile fired at a plane, it doesn't need flares to divert it, because as you know, some advanced missiles ignore flares anyway. Instead, it can destroy the incoming missiles head-on, either with a macro missiles or some other method, or probably radiation weapons. Who knows? And then, let's talk about the heart of the machine, the engines. From what we can see in the leaked footage, the J-36 has 3 engines, with 2 running and 1 in idle mode. The middle idling engine is more likely there to generate electricity. Modern combat jets are packed with electronic systems that need a lot of power, and that's also a major limitation when upgrading the older airplanes. With 3 engines, power output can be directly increased. It appears to be in an efficient cursing with 1 engine partly shut down. We don't know what exact engines it's using, but I would guess 2 of them could still maintain high subsonic speeds. So, based on all of this, we can sensibly speculate on what missions the J-36 is designed for. Let's summarize the features. It's big, has a high payload capacity, long range, and a huge weapon bay. By the way, a big weapon bay means it's flexible in payload options. Basically, you can put whatever you want inside. And in its landing gear suggests a maximum takeoff weight far beyond a regular fighter's. So, in all of them, I think the J-36 isn't built for ultra high-speed missions. Instead, it's a long-range, multi-role, modular, heavy platform. It can take different roles that usually belong to fighters, bombers, and even heavy bombers. Its main mission is penetrating contested airspace for heavy payload delivery. It doesn't even require air superiority before airstrikes, and the payload could include air-to-air or air-to-ground, like weapons, bombs, missiles, or even robots or drones. Of course, guys, everything here is my guess, but if these features really define a 6th-gen fighter, then suddenly that reminds me of the White Imperil from the Nantianmen project. Just for clarity, the White Imperil is a concept from China's sci-fi, the Nantianmen project. It's kind of an official project about alien defense. White Imperil is a model of that series of space fighter in Nantianmen project. But you know what? For us, it was always like a sci-fi IP, like cool appearance, good settings, somebody making novels, somebody making anime based on that. It's super cool, people love it, we enjoy it just like Arrow Man. But since the model of White Imperil really showed up in Zhuhai Air Show, we was like, what's going on here? It's just an anime, isn't it? By the way, China's new 6th-gen fighter jet standards include one last thing: anti-satellite and anti-ballistic missiles capability. So at that point, it's basically a small spaceship. I have no idea what they are making out there. Okay guys, here comes the end of this video. And as you can see, our defense industry, whether Army, Navy, or Air Force, keeps delivering surprise to us. I'm incredibly proud for all of our engineers. They're doing a great job. I love all kinds of military techs and hardware. But I also sincerely hope these technologies will only ever used to protect Earth from alien threats. Let's back to that video again. As you can hear from the background voice in this video, due to the test flight is conducting in city, so when they're recording it, beside the J-36 itself and the engine sound, they also include the background voice as well. Just in case you don't understand, the voice you heard here is a lady selling her ice jelly, which is a ChengDu snacks. She sells it on the road on an ordinary afternoon in Chengdu Street. Probably some people just finished their work, and probably some parents just pick up their kids from school, and probably they are going to have a great ice jelly on the way before they're going back home. Guys, even though I love J-36 so bad, but this sound is much more pleasing to hear than the engine sound of J-36. Because, to be honest, once you possess strength, you respect it even more. The world today is not peaceful. Let's be real. Terrible things happen every day. In times like this, the appearance of a new fighter like J-36 might cool everybody down, make everybody reevaluate their stance, and encourage a dialogue eventually. You know, war is always the worst option in the entire world. It will do a generational damage across the globe. As a normal people in this planet, I just hope we all cherish peace. And let's keep communicating and eliminate or misunderstand with each other. And finally, I hope we can make something great together.